Before this video starts, I just want to clarify that I am talking about everything under the assumption that you've seen it already. If you don't like spoilers, leave. If you do, say I'm going to talk about it without explaining stuff because you saw it already. I'm not going to waste time. That being said, here we go. All right, let's talk about Brand New Day. If you watched my previous Superman review, you know how these reviews go by now. Even though this is the second one, I'm just gonna talk about it as if we're having a conversation. I'm not editing this. Maybe I will, but I'm not thinking about editing it. Off the bat, the first thing this is more subjective, but the first thing under the context of this movie that I don't really like that much is Tom's new costume. I'm not really a fan of it, but that's totally like a preference thing. That's not really something I can really like say the movie suffers from this. That is a preference thing because for what it's worth, the suit doesn't visually look bad in the film. If you know how Marvel CGI can get, it can look horrible or it can look great, and I think that maybe comes from I've heard that they didn't use as much CGI on the film, excuse me, on the suit, and it was much more practical compared to older films. But I do appreciate that. But with that being said, I didn't really like how it looks. I'm not really a fan of it. But again, preference. Moving on. Before this movie came out, they had a lot of promotion of the villains that would be in it, including Tombstone, Tarantula, Scorpion, the Hand, etc. And off the bat, when I saw that, the first thing I said was, "They are gonna be opening montage jobbers," and I was right. Um, Now with that, um, you can say that it doesn't hurt the film directly, but the reason it hurts it for me is because when you're watching a Spider-Man film, any superhero film, a matter of fact, for most times, unless it's like a film with a team in it where like the team relationships shine. If it's like a solo film, what's gonna shine the most is the antagonist. You watch Spider-Man 1, Green Goblin, you watch the Batman, the Riddler, etc., etc. So it's like I feel like coming off the home trilogy, people were looking for they were looking towards having a film with a Spider-Man villain that was grounded. I remember theories of saying it was going to be a Tombstone gang war and shit like that. And I have my own thoughts on that. I feel like that definitely would have been more entertaining than what we get in this film, and I'll go into that later. But I feel like I would have liked that more. But with that being said, their opening scene knockouts, and one part I really didn't like is Tombstone holds Peter over like a ledge, and he's like, "I'm fucking drop you," and it's like Spider Man. It's like trying to drown Aquaman or like suffocate Superman in space. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? And it just feels lazy. If you're gonna go this lazy route of giving me a montage of them being wiped, at least try to put some effort into it. Like he tries to throw Spider-Man off a building and he thinks it'll kill him. Like, come on. Moving on, I'm not really a fan of well, I'll break it down like this. The first half of this movie is amazing. I love the first half. It was beautiful. I think that they were going in a really good direction. However, things fall apart maybe for me, things fall apart once Peter attends MJ's party. Well, it was Ned's party. So once Peter attends Ned's party, that's kind of where, for me personally, and I'll explain why. But before that, let's talk about Elena included in this film. She didn't have to be in this film, honestly, at all. And I really think that she's only in here just so that you're getting familiar with her face, so that when she's in Brand New Day, you're not questioning shit. Because let's be honest, nobody saw Thunderbolts. I did. I loved the film, but nobody rushed to see it. The new Avengers. People they don't want to change. They don't want to get that change. Hold on, I'm talking a lot. I need a drink. Excuse me. They don't want that change, so naturally, Marvel's gonna try to put her in your face. Hey, don't forget about this. We're about to switch to this with Doomsday, because we've all seen the reactions to the Doomsday trailer with the whole "Who the hell are these people? What are they gonna do against?" We've seen that, so I really feel like she's just in here just to like warm you up to the idea of her. Which, as someone that loves Thunderbolts, that film was very very good to me. I loved it, and I like Elena I like her more than Natasha. If we're being like Natasha, she had the whole charismatic sass thing, but like it wasn't there for me. The dialogue felt like emo Kamiko-ish, minus like the cursing because it's a Marvel film. But um, what else? What else? Oh, so with Yelena, excuse me, I found it very weird how she kind of just made it possession thing. Like very fucking convenient how the problem that Peter is encountering in the film, you kind of knock out what it could be instantly. And Peter's like possession, and it's just like, all right, man, but I ain't really like that. I'm not gonna lie. So then it's like, okay, I can look past that. I really don't want to, but it did rub me the wrong way with that because it's just like, okay, you just knock it out the park, huh? We gotta keep this movie going, sure, whatever. So then it's like, one thing I wasn't really a fan of, and this is something with like comics in general, so I won't fault the movie. Well, I will fault the movie, but I know what I'm talking about in regards to how I feel about this, but Spider Sense, it's always been inconsistent. Let's be real. But the inconsistency here is just like once Peter stops the tank inside of the damage control prison, he doesn't sense the bomb. Really, like, come on. We we can't keep picking and choosing when he'll sense it, when he won't, because it gets really really annoying, honestly, at this point. And the with Spider-Man as a character, there's always going to be a scene where you could say, "Well, Spider sensed this," and if you do that, you obviously will suck the soul out of whatever you're trying to consume that's Spider-Man related. But in this movie, particularly, it did just like rub me, like, come on, he didn't sense the bomb. And to add on to that, it's the whole internal conflict thing where like he's turning more arachnid emotionally than normally, and they could have portrayed that better for me. Obviously, grass is green. It portrays best during the Scorpion scene because he's getting angry. His emotions are everywhere. And then after he leaves the party because his MJ kissed her boyfriend, he swings. He's all fucked up. After that segment, it kind of gets forgotten. I know that he gets the inhibitor. However, it just feels like they could have gave us more with it besides a little. And then it's like, okay, if the whole problem is that he's becoming more spider because of his emotions and his DNA, why wouldn't he have sensed the bomb? Like, I could see it if like the problem is that like since he's so emotionally distraught, he's like his DNA is lessening. Let's think of like Spider-Man 2 to where by Sam Raimi, and he's like he's losing his powers because of the web block, right? Let's say it's that. I can understand why the spider sense would be lacking because he's losing his powers. However, if the whole plot is that he's becoming more spider, I feel like shouldn't it make sense for him to kind of be more aware of stuff? And I'll talk about it now, bro. Out of all the Spider-Man movies we've ever gotten, this movie is definitely most inspired by Spider-Man 2. That goes without a doubt. That's obvious. But it's just a bad Spider-Man 2, honestly. I don't think this movie is horrible, but it's just a bad Spider-Man 2. Like, it's just all right. Like, because like that the example I just provided, that's like it it leaves me with my head scratching. Um, I digress. I'll move on from that. I'm not gonna stick on stuff for too long. I'm just saying what I like and don't like. Um, Zendaya's portrayal of Mary Jane. I'm not a fan of it. It feels like sometimes Zendaya kind of gets, unfortunately, I don't know if I want to use the words typecasted, but she's always kind of playing the same character to me. No matter what I see her in. No disrespect to her. That's not a fault of her, but like I just don't know how they keep trying to putting her they keep putting her in this box and I really dislike it. The whole, of course she lost her memories after No Way Home, but this whole I'm just waiting for something great. I'm just expecting something. And like she's just always portrayed as like this superstitious person. And it's like, dude, it gets it's lazy for me because it's like obviously the something is the whole Peter memory thing. But it's just like, come on, like I'm tired. What are you showing me, bro? Like, I'm just magically waiting for something. Something will come. I'm not gonna accept that job offer because it just doesn't feel. It's just like, bro. Man. And that is another thing I'll talk about. This movie is not a brand new day. The whole movie is like Peter stuck on these past relationships. And I'm not expecting him to move on that easily, but in the context of the film, 4 years have passed since No Way Home. And it's like, I think one big problem is that skip. Like, I understand, it might slow down the pacing expectation wise if like, excuse me, if this movie started shortly after No Way Home, which I don't think it should have been that, but like to give us a montage of Peter on his phone is just Ned like, yo, I'm a freshman, yo, I'm a sophomore, yo, I graduated. It's just like, bro, if you want me to feel what Peter's feeling in regards to not having the people that he had so close, don't give me a montage of it. Especially when in the Home trilogy, they were never really developed. Like, it all felt artificial, especially MJ. Honestly, I always felt more with Peter and Lindsay from Homecoming than him and MJ. It just feels like, well, it's Zendaya and it's Tom Holland, let's make him go. Like, no, I never felt that, honestly. And I'm not going to lie if I did. I think that if you wanted to do that, you should have gave us more of an attachment to them in those first films and not just like, tell us. If it feels like they're just putting it in your face that they want you to feel bad that Peter doesn't have them. And of course, I already feel bad, but like, don't just give me this. He's watching them. Oh, I graduated. Oh my god. Look, look, we're together. Look, and it's just like Peter's just like, and it's just like, bro, it feels so lazy, honestly, extremely lazy. And when you have a film like Spider-Man 2, which this film is kind of like inspired by for sure, and that it executes that feeling of lonely existential dread so much better. It's like, bro, no, that's not how you do it. And transitioning on into that, the whole Peter post No Way Home life. Again, if you're gonna follow in the footsteps of Spider-Man 2, that movie that shit hits you with that shit. Hits you with, bro. Peter loses his job because he's busy being Spider-Man. He can't supply for himself. Rent, the Mr. Dickovich is already on his ass about the rent. Rent. I need my rent. All right, fuck. It's suffocating. Like rent. Okay. To get rent, I need money. I go over here. I can't get money because I've lost my job. Rent. And it's like this feeling of paranoia. And then I think it was Aunt May's birthday or Peter's birthday. It was somebody's birthday. And he's at the house and like Aunt May gives him her last $20 or like her last bit of change, and he's like, no, it was Peter's birthday. It had to have been. She's like, take this. He's like, nah. She's like, take it. You must, or you must, knowing that she doesn't have much. It's like that feeling of like, damn, like this hurts. It's not just the friend life getting affected. Everywhere Peter kind of tries to go, he's getting knocked down. Rent. He lost his job. Aunt May. Was she getting evicted? I can't remember. But stuff with that, it's like, wow. And then it's the whole Harry and MJ thing. It's like bro, his closest friend and his love interest, they kind of like betrayed him in a sense, and he feels that sense of betrayal, and it's like everywhere Peter goes, it's like that suffocating feeling of something won't work out. And then like, all right, my fucking PC messed up. Am I still recording? I am. Okay, that's scary. And then like you get to this film, and it's like he's at his desk. He has a fucking PC set up. He's all rich and shit. He's just he has a fucking AI. He has an AI named Eve. She tells him all the details that he would try to. She tells him it, and it's like he doesn't have a job. He's unemployed. So it's like with you being inspired by Spider-Man 2 with the internal conflict focus and the relationship focus, you're doing a horrible job like replicate that feeling. If the only thing that I should feel concerned about is his relationship with others. Nevertheless, it's been 4 years, so like someone else can watch this film and just be like, well, he should have moved on by then. He hasn't met nobody in those 4 years. I know that they kind of set it up with the girl on the elevator, but you know, she gives that look, hey, I see you on my floor. Oh, yeah. He hasn't kind of had nobody in those 4 years, but somebody else can say that as a complaint, but I can understand it. You know, he was of course attached to these people. These were his friends, his family. However, if you're gonna like do this inspiration of that film, you could have made it feel way more dreadful. Like, I don't feel honestly, Peter's life didn't seem bad. Like, of course, he was lonely. He could have met people. You know, I don't know how he was paying for his apartment. He just has a mysterious source of income. So it's like I don't have to worry about that. He has all types of tech. It's just like, bro, no. The feeling isn't there for me. Not for me personally. I took notes because I usually forget everything. Corny scenes, that's Marvel. I'm not gonna bash this movie for saying, oh, it was corny here. That's Marvel. Let's not make this a Spider-Man Brand New Day complaint. That's the MCU entirely. However, there are some that's extremely distasteful, and I'll go over them later on. Um Peter confronting Scorpion, I did enjoy the scene. Um I feel like you definitely feel the aggression in Spider-Man's fighting style with the whole like he like brings the tail, slams him to the cop car as it's coming. The officer gets injured. You're like, oh shit. Then he rips off his tail. He slaps him with it. You're like, oh shit. Yo, my nigga going crazy. Even when the cop's injured, he's like, yo, like that was me. Like, let me talk to the I forgot the name of the cop he was working with, but she's like, they should kill her off in like 2 movies too. Just like, I'll go into that later. She's like, nah, son, go get out of here. I can't do this. Great, I love that. I think that that's like that was the highlight of this film. And one thing I was confused about is the Jean Grey Scorpion thing. Once Peter stops Scorpion, he's kind of like talking to him, and then Jean like she rather hops into a new host that was within 30 feet, which I'm not leaning towards considering there wasn't nobody around in that scene until the cops mysteriously pulled up, and then you know, or B, she let go of controlling him. Now here's my problem with that. And I'm gonna be all over the place. I don't like to go linear. That's boring. I'm not gonna give you it in order. You want to talk about the stuff at the end, the middle? Come on, let's do that. But here's my problem with that. In the later on scene, you know, when Peter stops the guy that Jean Grey had in the helicopter, he just fucking leaves him. He leaves him in the helicopter, as if he stopped Jean Grey from getting to MJ. But it's like, maybe in his head, he was thinking there's nobody within 30 feet since we're in the sky. But then it's like, In the previous scene, Jean Grey just showed you that she's willing to kill someone that's essentially innocent. So it's like, let's say hypothetical, let's say I assumed that she controlled the man, jumped out the helicopter before he landed, swapped with somebody else. It's like I feel like Peter should have taken that into account. He kind of just gets dumb, and it's a problem I have with Spider-Man portrayals sometimes. They don't know whether to make him a fucking genius or to make him just a smart guy or just make him a normal guy. And I like when he's a fucking genius or in the middle between genius and smart guy because Marvel has a lot of smart characters. Of course, Reed Richards is the smartest, but it kind of feels like something Peter should account for, especially since she just killed a man 5 minutes before they got to that helicopter area. And it's just like, mm, mm. That, nah, I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. He should have accounted for that, especially given the context of how they even got up there. And then like it it leads into the MJ scene. And like I was saying earlier with their portrayal of him losing himself, if the whole concept of him losing himself is kind of based on the he's becoming more spider, was the inhibitor must have been on at that scene. Cause I was gonna say, if he's becoming more spider, shouldn't like his senses be overly telling him something's wrong? But even if the inhibitor was on, so he's not kind of being overstimulated by it, why wouldn't his spider sense like for example, I'll give you an example. No Way Home, when Peter's working on the device to put in Otto's neck, and he senses Norman switch to Goblin, you see that like even though there's no direct thing to give it away at the moment because nobody else knows, he walks in the room and he's staring at him like just off like the spider sense. And it's a personality thing. Norman didn't have his fangs, which usually protrude when Goblin's in control. He didn't say anything. Of course, he was trying to keep it low. He was being sneaky with it. So it's like in the previous movie, he can sense a personality change or like a possession change. But then I'm watching Brand New Day, and he just thinks Zendaya is actually. I said Zendaya. He just thinks MJ is actually her. It no, like you're showing me one thing, you're showing me another, and it's like when I blend them together, I'm like, what? What are you doing? Wasn't a fan of that. Wasn't a fan of that. Um, let's see my notes. Well. So since we're here, actually, the Jean Grey thing with the after Peter kind of he's trying to adjust to having spinnerets inside of his arm opposed to web shooters, and he falls out the alley because he deployed his spider grenades or spider wave shits, and he falls out the alley by accident, and Jean Grey's just conveniently walking down the street. Like he just comes out and she's just like, and she says something. It's just like, sure, sure. She's just right there. Sure, fuck it. If you say it, it rubbed me the wrong way entirely. Yeah, wasn't a fan of that. Moving on, Bruce Banner, Bruce Banner, Bruce Banner, Bruce Banner. Hulk is my favorite Marvel superhero. With me saying that, you already know how I feel about Bruce Banner in the MCU. Fucking horrible. They treat him like this shy puppy. Oh, the Hulk, the Hulk, the Hulk, the Hulk, the Hulk. And while I agree Bruce does have aspects like that in the comics, and I'm not trying to be like in the comics, so it has to be like this in the movie. I'm not trying to be that pretentious. However, bro, he's been in the MCU since 2008. He was one of the first heroes to get his movie. I know that people are confused with the whole Edward Norton, Mark Ruffalo thing, but yes, they are the same character. Yes, he aged. I don't. Sure. Yes, but they're the same character essentially. And it just feels like if you're someone familiar with Hulk comics, Bruce grows out of this, man. He grows out of this whole Hulk, the bad guy, mumbo jumbo. And he doesn't grow out of it to the point of saying that he thinks that it's not a threat, but it's just like, bro, the inhibitor. I mean, well, I'm not sure if it was called the inhibitor, but the arm device. Well, no, I think it was also an inhibitor because Peter speaks to him about it, and I'll talk about that too in this whole Bruce Banner section. I didn't understand it because from what I had previously saw about Hulk, Professor Hulk, him and Hulk kind of had a synergy to them or a harmony that was, which is a fault of Endgame, not this movie. That was done off screen. Fucking stupid, very fucking stupid. But I'm not gonna get into that. But that's a different video. But that's very very fucking stupid to have that. And then it's like with this Professor Smart Hulk thing, and they're working together. Why the fuck does Bruce need the arm thing? Why does he have to tame the Hulk and they're perfectly fine together? Now, I will be honest, I did not watch She-Hulk. So if it's something that correlates to that, I am dead wrong and I will admit that. However, I know about She-Hulk and I saw something about the ending where Bruce introduced his son Scar and he was still Professor Hulk. So I don't know if it is She-Hulk related. I don't think it is because then that scene doesn't make sense. But then it's like, excuse me. But then it's like, well, again, why does he need to tame the Hulk with this arm device? What's the problem if they just had harmony enough to be Smart Hulk, which takes both of them? You know, if you can interpret Bruce as being the mask and Hulk is the real thing, or you can interpret it as Bruce is the real thing and Hulk is the mask. However you want to do it, these two characters coexist. They are the same character. People think of it as you know, two different characters. You can get weird with terminology or interpretation, but essentially they are one of each other. There's even runs where Hulk has his own Hulk. But it's like, bro, when you're like, no, it's like I can't even put it into words because it's like it's so self-explanatory. Why does he need this arm inhibitor? This arm inhibitor, excuse me, when like they were fine. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. That's why I keep pausing. But it's like it just doesn't make sense to me. And let's say you want to say, well, maybe Bruce just didn't want to be in a Hulk form. It probably is uncomfortable walking around all buff as fuck and shit, green. Well, then why would he need the inhibitor still? Because can he just transform back to normal if him and Hulk are on good terms? It doesn't make sense, honestly. And with this stuff I'm saying, it's just adding on to bringing the movie down for me. But moving on from that Hulk thing, Bruce Banner himself, I think he's portrayed horrible in this movie. I'm tired of this soft puppy Bruce Banner. This is not who he stays as, man. Like, yes, he is concerned with what the Hulk can do. He doesn't stay this shy, like, oh, the Hulk can come out, yeah, I gotta be careful because of the Hulk. He doesn't stay this way, and I don't know why the MCU keeps neglecting his character. Um, but as far as his dynamic with Peter, I didn't like that, bro. If you know Bruce Banner, he is one of the most precautious, paranoid, superstitious characters ever when it comes to the Hulk. Understandably, if you watch Age of Ultron, the stuff Wanda does to the Hulk to make him destroy the city, it's justified. He feels that guilt, even though it's not him purposely. He feels responsible for that. So when you're watching the film, right, and this random kid, it's Peter, I'm talking about. Peter comes into his class at college and he pretty much breaks down how the inhibitor works. Like I said, Peter could be a super genius, a smartass, or just a normal guy. He breaks it down on some super genius shit. First try. Bruce doesn't know him. Doesn't know him. This random guy walks in, breaks down how he's keeping the Hulk at bay.
This isn't no red flags to Bruce. He's just like, you don't go here, do you? And it's like, bro, you don't think Bruce would be a little bit concerned about who this guy is and what? Even Peter, he's an honest person. He says, "No, I don't. I'm a grad student, but I'm just here." That would be more of a red flag, bro. This random guy broke in, not broken, walked in to your classroom, spoke to you one on one, said, "So does it work like this?" And mind you, Bruce Banner is a genius. He's a very smart scientist. So yeah, the stuff behind it is gonna be a lot of logistics. And this random young man walks in and just breaks it down in the context of Marvel. Now, obviously, Peter isn't a villain. However, from Bruce's perspective, this is fucking weird. Wait, who is this? How does he know this? How is he doing that? And I just feel like he could have been way more paranoid and not as welcoming to that, especially given the regards of the dangers of the Hulk. If you watch Age of Ultron, that one scene after the Hulkbuster puts him out, he's just on the Quinjet like this, quivered up, feeling that guilt. It's like, bro, he wouldn't take that risk at all, especially talking to Peter like that. Like, I think that was horrible, horrible, and it just keeps taking me out the film as I'm watching it, especially in the world of Infinity War and Endgame, that which Bruce was present for. He doesn't know who's a villain. Like, no, didn't like that at all. I think it brings the film down more. It just doesn't make sense. Now, moving on to that, I'll still on the context of the Hulk still. Excuse me. It's more hot than cold. Need some water too. Water and coffee. Good combo. Bro, so look, when Jean makes Hulk pissed off, right? Now, this is a detail that they said before the movie released, but they said that Hulk would be the only one to remember Peter. Well, fucking how? Can you name one interaction that they really have to make him like even remember him? Like, if you look at the comics, and I hate to sound like that guy, that one guy. We all know what type of guy I'm talking. I don't want to sound like that guy, but Peter and Hulk in the comics have such a good relationship to where it's like, if it was like that, and just due to the nature of the Hulk being like his own like entity, kinda, I can totally get, yo, like, that's kind of fucking fire how he remembers him. These niggas ain't never interact in in the MCU in general, besides Infinity War, with like the whole Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Bruce, Spider-Man segment in the first half of that movie in New York, where Cull Obsidian and Ebony Maw come for them. Did they even have interactions then? I just remember Iron Man about to get hit, and then Peter blocks Cull Obsidian. You know, that's how he comes in. And then it's just like, okay, and yes, no, that doesn't make sense because he didn't transform into Hulk in that movie. So then it's like, why does Hulk remember him when Hulk is beating on him? He's beating on, beating on. He's just like, stop. This isn't you, Hulk, Bruce. It's me. Well, who the fuck are you? He doesn't know him. Like, there's no bond or chemistry for me to be like, I like that. He remember. What is that based on? And please, if I am misremembering something, I would love for someone to point it out in the comments or something to where I can admit I was wrong because I overlooked something. Because I want to like this movie. It's fucking. Who doesn't want to like a Spider-Man movie? But then it's just like, excuse me, with something like that, it's just like, dog. You're just placing Bruce or the Hulk at this area to give Peter an obstacle from stopping Jean Grey from entering the vault. And it's so fucking obvious, bro. And even after that whole scene ends with him just magically calming down Hulk, Bruce Banner is sent to a psychiatric hospital. Bruce Banner. They send him away as if he purposely turned into the Hulk. And then Peter just fucking forgets about him. There's no, oh, Dr. Banner didn't do this. Let him go. He just like, alright. If he really fucking felt bad and because they're friends, why would he just let him get taken away like that? I swear to God, he's in like a stretcher being rolled away. He's like, I didn't mean to do this. And it's just like, I don't know if it was for jokes because my theater fucking laughed at it, which was sick. I look back like, yo, like, it's fucked up. But maybe I'm biased because I love the Hulk, but horrible in my opinion. I and I, I want to like the movie. I want to like the movie, but Spider-Man and Hulk don't even know each other really. Spider-Man and Bruce don't know each other. Bruce doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man, so there's not even a correlation. Like it's me, Peter. Like he just says it's me, Peter, and even then, Bruce just met him. He just met him. I could see it if it was somebody like Natasha or Tony or Thor. Let's use Thor because they're like the closest from Ragnarok. I could see if it was them. Who is Peter to Bruce to even calm him down like that? Who is he? And I just think no, no. Mm-mm. Um, let's move on to Zendaya, and I keep saying something about Zendaya's roles. It makes me see her as Zendaya and not the character that she's playing. I really think she plays the same roles every movie. That's why. Let's move on to the MJ thing. I mean to say, um, didn't like it. The scene I'm talking about in particular is the boat scene where Peter comes back from I don't know, he was moving around the city in this movie. He comes back from somewhere. I think it was the Hulk thing. And MJ had found a note. And she's like, okay, so were you somebody like you were somebody important to me? You were Peter Parker. She highlights it. And it's like back to what I mentioned earlier with this whole setting up this she feels something mysterious thing. You can tell that their intentions was to play on the idea that will she remember? Will she not remember? Will she remember? Will she not remember? Because, you know, they're trying to plant that seed with the I just feel like something is missing. And later on in the movie, when the movie ends, it gets even more ruined because Ned just remembers Peter after the handshake. Cool. But then it's like with Zendaya, I swear to, all right, if I say Zendaya, I'm talking about MJ, obviously, but I'm not trying to purposely talk about her, like, personally. I don't know her. But with that, it's like, okay, well, if you're trying to play this game of will she remember or will she not, we know fucking Doctor Strange. Like, he did a worldwide spell to make everyone forget Peter Parker as a person. So it's like when you're watching it, you're just like, she's not going to remember because the rules were established. The last movie, we established the rules. Everyone will forget who Peter Parker is. So don't try to play this game with me when I know the answer to the game. And even the answer is right. She says, well, she makes Peter confess. He's like, I loved you, this, and that. And she's like, I don't know you. I don't love you. Sorry. And it's just like, you can tell it was supposed to hit the audience on some. So she didn't remember. Oh, that's the answer. She didn't remember. But then it's like, who the fuck ever thought she was actually gonna remember? And with that, that comes from Doctor Strange. Like we know the rules. We know Doctor Strange's credit from watching the first movie. Let's not talk about the second one. But we know his credit. We know Strange is a kid. The whole thing in Infinity War. There's one way to win. Oh, we got to plan it this way. It comes back around in Endgame. You're like, damn, Strange was right. Oh, is this the right timeline? If I tell you it's not gonna work. Oh, Tony runs. He does the eye iron. Like we know it's. Nobody ever thought she was actually gonna remember. But I'll speak for myself because you might be different. But I never thought she was actually gonna remember. Doesn't make sense. So then it's like, okay, there's this little fake scene on the boat where we're supposed to be affected by that. Oh, I don't love you. I wasn't. It doesn't hit. And another reason why it also doesn't hit is because of MJ and Peter's relationship before this film. It felt so forced, like she didn't become a character for Peter to be a love interest really until the end of Homecoming, where she's like, after the stuff with Lindsay and Vultures, and she's like, call me MJ. She's like, oh, okay, all right. Then Far From Home, that's the whole thing. Then you get No Way Home. That's immediately. I don't even want to say after. The movie picks up where Far From Home ends. Like it's kind of like the same day. Picks up immediately going into that. And then it's like, well, they've barely had time to have this whole little love interest fling going. Like I said, we're only connecting these because it's Tom Holland and Zendaya, and that's the whole. They're fucking married in real life, so it's like that's why I'm thinking of them as a love interest, not because of the characters you've given me, because of Tom Holland and Zendaya, not Peter and MJ. So it's like, even then, when this falls flat, because she can't remembers, I said remembers, because she can't remember, it's just like, oh, you guys weren't that serious. So it's just like, you know? She always seemed like more of a very good friend to me of Peter's than a love interest. For me personally, it just wasn't there. But it's not a smooth progression at all. Um, yeah, I don't know how the writers. I said writers. I'm getting very dehydrated. I don't even talk this much, but I don't know how the writers expected us to react to that. And not a fan. Not a fan, honestly. Um, one thing I will point out is if you ever seen that one RDC skit where it's like Marvel be placing like the worst jokes ever after some non-tone appropriate scene, and it's like something bad happens and it's like a joke. They do that. Like it's she like, I don't love you, and Peter's like, damn. She walks away, leaves out, comes back in. I don't have my phone, and you're supposed to laugh at it, and it's just like, well, bad joke at this fucking time, really? Like you're gonna drop that here? But um, let's move on some more. Let me go through my notes. Oh, I think this is the part I detached from the movie entirely because I stopped putting notes. But Jean Grey, Jean Grey, they wanted us to care so fucking bad, bro. They wanted us to care so fucking bad. Let me tell you something about Jean Grey as a character. Um, Jean Grey is the fakest Marvel character ever, bro. Like, Jean Grey is a character that you don't know, but you just know her name, and you're supposed to be like, "Yo, Jean Grey, yo, Jean Grey," and it's like, yeah, you got the stuff with the Phoenix, but like, nobody talks about her character. She's a fake character. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying that there's no runs where she's developed or this or that, bro. If there's Jean Grey discourse, it's rather the beef between Logan and Scott, the Phoenix Force, though the Dark Phoenix, the Phoenix, or just her name, Jean Grey. I mean, it's a cool fucking name. I can't lie. But like, bro, the fakest character ever, bro. Like, no. And it's like to waste your time on this film trying to set up for an X-Men film or the X-Men being added to the MCU after Secret Wars or whatever. This was supposed to be a Spider-Man film. Like it's really disappointing because I want to like the movie. However, it's just like even her motive, boring, generic. cliche. The actor Sadie Sink in this movie plays Jean Grey. And this is not a personal attack to her, but her taking this role makes this movie suffer. And I'll explain why. We all know what Stranger Things is, right? Jean Grey's arc in this movie is the exact same as Eleven's arc in Stranger Things. She has a sister that she wanted to protect. You know, of course, some details. But she has a sister that she wanted to protect, and, you know, they're both super powered or whatever. And the evil corporation takes the sister, or takes her, and it's just like, no, my sister, no! Ah! And it's just like, bro. You're gonna use a Stranger Things actor for using a no, you're gonna use a Stranger Things actor while also replicating a Stranger Things trope. Even the name Max is in the film. VMAX and Sadie Sink plays Max. It's just like, bro, y'all could have at least made the motivation, you know, not as predictable and boring. I tell you this, the second that it was brought up that she had a sister, I shook my head, bro, because I already know where it was going. And I was right. You know, the park scene where they're just chilling and they're conversing. Then the evil big bad corporation comes in, which was so predictable. I forgot the name of the black guy who was in charge of it, but so fucking predictable. The whole, hey, have you heard of this name? Well, where'd you hear that? I haven't heard of it myself, but it's just like, bro, we all saw it coming. Let's not lie. So it's like when you incorporate that lazy Jean Grey subplot, not even try to like spice up the reasoning. Ooh, just change it up. Add some like, ooh, like I wouldn't expect that. Mm, don't like it. Not even subjective. I don't like it. I don't think it's good at all, and it honestly makes the latter half film or the latter half segment of the film suffer. Because one thing about this film, I'll be honest and say, is that they showed too much in the promotion. Honestly, this is one of those movies where, like, if you watch the right trailers and TV spots, you know the fucking movie. There's nothing hidden about it because we all knew it was gonna be. I'm not sure if it was leaked or announced, but the name Jean Grey was already brought up before the film even came out. We all knew this. Even the bus girl Rogue, well, I don't know if that's supposed to be Rogue, but she has the same hair and everything. And New York X-Men Spider-Man, sure, even that's in the trailer. Damn it. But yeah, very lazy, and even the way that the film wraps up was extremely lazy to me. Um, very lazy, very lazy, and it's unfortunate. I just realized that I haven't started drawing the entire time. I don't know the run time because something's blocking it. Well, I'm gonna start a little bit because I gotta finish this. But you know, um, I think it's lazy because like, okay, you know, the thing with it is that like when you're trying to make me feel bad for this character Jean Grey because of the whole plot line like with her sister and shit, it's just like, well, yeah, okay, I'll try to feel bad, but like she fucking killed an innocent man. Like she made him walk. Yo, like she possesses him. She nigga walks back into the street, get hit by a car, and fucking dies. Right? And it's like, okay, all right. And then it's like, okay, you make her possess and how almost says Zendaya again. You make her possess MJ, and then make her kiss Peter. It's like she fucking sexually assaults her. You know, you make her do that, and it's just like. But then at the end, it's the whole, oh, my sister, and Peter feels bad for her, and Peter's just like, no, you know, you aren't a killer. She's a fucking killer. You aren't a bad person. You don't have to be that. She went out of her way to do evil shit. Like the whole thing with fucking with Peter's mind and shit. Like it's not even like a Frank Castle thing. I said that's Punisher's name, right? Frank Castle. It's not even like a thing with him to where it's like he's killing bad guys or criminals. So it's like even though you aren't on the side of murder, you understand his motive due to who are his targets. With Jean Grey, she has actually done more harm to people unrelated to damage control entirely than, you know, damage control themselves. And it's just like, you want me to feel bad for this character? Why would I feel bad? She mentally manipulates Peter. She kind of sexually assaults MJ. She kills that innocent guy. And if we assume that she swapped, she probably killed the guy in the helicopter because she probably jumped out and swapped. And if she did it, then she obviously just let go of controlling him. But Peter knows that she can do that. It's just like whatever you try to explain it just falls short. And even the way that the film wraps up, it's kind of just abrupt for me. It's just like, we'll go to the prison. Peter fights. Arrgh! Peter jumps, beats them. He goes into the room. You don't have to be this. Didn't like it, honestly. Didn't like it. I'm giving this film a 5 out of 10, personally. I don't think that this is a bad film. If somebody tells you that this is a bad movie, they're over exaggerating. However, it's just not, it's not no 10 out of 10. It's not no 9 out of 10. It's all right. Like the movie's all right. Like there's definitely good aspects. I didn't go over it. I might do another video. Actually, no. I'll speed run the good aspects because this runtime is great. Punisher was great. The action was great. The swinging scenes were great. Tom Holland, the acting, amazing. He was great. The dynamic between Peter and Frank was great. Um, CGI, the scene where he's free falling after kind of hurting, he's just no suit on, free falling. CGI wasn't the best, but besides that, the visuals were great. But that's really it for me. And I just don't think that that's enough to make a movie a masterpiece. You guys are starving for Spider-Man, but doesn't mean you have to, not see it for what it is. But just my take. I'm gonna go to bed now. Bye, guys.